Welcome. You've splash landed into this Prosecco-laden podcast, straight into the woo-woo pool with the crew of Ohm-g. We're just a simple group of tragically imperfect and highly empathic BFFs, exploring a wide range of atypical topics with humor, grace, and curiosity. This is Ohm-g. Welcome, everybody. Today's topic, we pretty much just came up with. Memory rant. What's real? What has our brain rewritten for self-preservation? And do strange little deja vu type things happen to you? You're with the crew of
Ohm-g, the podcast.
This is Camille.
This is Chandra.
This is Brenda.
And this is Lynn. And I have no idea what's going on.
But we're going to talk about something. Because you know we're good about talking.
I might know too much and not enough all at once.
I think we just inceptioned ourselves because
Yes.
we're sitting here kind of brainstorming about what to talk about and what topics did we want to kind of delve into next. And we came up with like 3 or 4 different things. And we thought we were doing one or the other, and Camille just kind of meshed them all into one, and we're all sitting here going, okay.
Are we talking about that?
I'm like, this is all some really good material, and it all has to do with memory.
Oh, that's true. It does.
Scattered picture, never mind.
For sure, scattered pictures. But and that was
Scattered memories.
one of the things that we were talking about is, I'll be completely vulnerable. One of the conversation completely started with me asking about having sections of your memory just completely, you know it happened, but you're unable to access the memory of it. Like you have no visual recollection of what it looked like in the room that day. Or I kind of got hit in the mouth with one of those this week where there's a thing in my childhood that I know for sure happened. It didn't appear even at the time. It doesn't appear now. Didn't appear then to be a traumatic type experience. But the only way I can describe the way it feels is that memory was completely wiped away. I have no recollection of any specifics. I know that it happened, but I have no specifics from, like, what did the room smell like? Where was the room in the building? What did the room look like? What happened in that space or that time? It's completely gone. It's not accessible in my memory banks, and it totally freaked me out.
And then you saw someone talking about it this week. And so like, it almost felt like it triggered something in you of like, not a memory per se, but like a knowing.
Yes. Everything they were talking about sounded familiar, but I couldn't recall having ever done that specific thing or seen that specific thing. There was absolutely no physical recollection of it.
I think our bodies know. Even if our brain doesn't know, or because Camille and I were talking about this week, we had watched someone on YouTube and they're pretty out there. And I'll tune into them every once in a while because I'm like, oh, I don't know. That's really hard for me to imagine. And then as you hear all the things that are actually happening, you're like, oh, that's kind of the shit that she talked about.
Yeah.
And having this almost like a gut knowing that rang true, even if you don't know all of it for sure yet, there's some truth to it, maybe. So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you'll listen to what you consider a bunch of dribble coming out of someone's mouth, and all of a sudden your ear starts ringing or your heart starts pounding, and you know that one sentence is true. At least it's true for you. And so I've always wondered, does memory sometimes just go away and convert in your brain into automatic knowing? Was it an implant from an alien? I don't know. And perception has so much to do with it. And we've all talked about perception many, many times. But yeah, I mean, like Brenda, tell us about your Swedish visitor.
Oh, yeah.
That we were just musing about.
Yeah, I was just talking about whenever I lived in Sweden, I had a friend from high school that came to visit. And I think she spent almost a week. And now that she jogged my memory, because she came to visit, she went home, I went on with my life. And then we got together, I think, after I'd moved back here. And she was like, yeah, remember whenever I came to see you in Sweden? And I'm like, no, I I don't remember. And then she started telling me the things we did. And then it was like it triggered the memories. I remember we went to a castle and I had 2 small kids, trying to take 2 small kids in a stroller in an old Swedish castle where it's all steps everywhere. There was no ADA compliance anywhere. And so it was stressful. But yeah, no memory of that whatsoever until she told me the things we did, and then it reminded me. But that was a stressful time in my life too. So I don't know if that made me put that somewhere else. Like I can't have that memory right now because I'm kind of in survival mode.
Well, or your body didn't use the energy to put that in, like to file that away in a place where it would be readily available because it was too busy keeping my children alive, keeping them from falling down these concrete stairs. And, your brain was too busy doing other things. And that was a point that Camille made is like, in my case, was it just that particular memory, so many things, because that was a minute ago, I ain't gonna lie. There's just been so many other things that have happened since then that were so much more important for my filing cabinet to be used for. Like, is it nothing more sinister than just that file has been replaced by other things that were more important that my conscious or subconscious deemed to be that you'll need this later, you're not going to need that later, right? Or because I ain't gonna lie, it felt a little more sinister than that when the recollection happened that I had absolutely no recall of that time. So,
and another point we brought up was maybe the memory in that visit meant so much more to the fabric of your friend's life than it did to yours at the end of the day. I mean, we could muse on explanations all day long, but...
Or I'm just losing it. I mean, that's another explanation.
I wasn't going to say that out loud.
Early onset Alzheimer's.
That was also something that, that crossed my mind. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. And we were talking about something else, like when you see someone and you just like know that you know that person, even if you can't figure out how, where, when.
It's not a memory of them. It's just a knowing.
Yeah.
I definitely had an experience that has stuck with me ever since when I was in my 20s, working in a very popular store in malls. Yes, they used to exist and they were happening places. Just working behind the little counter, and this nice young man walked in around my age, and we caught each other's eye, and we both had an immediate knowing, and immediately we were each trying to figure out, where do I know you from? And it was a friendly, warm feeling. It was not a case of, oh, we made out at a party. It was not a case of, oh, we hooked up at a concert. It was nothing like that. And we shared who our friends were. We shared what schools we went to. We shared what we liked to do for fun. And we were each just grasping so hard because we knew each other and could not figure it out. And our circles were not that big back then at that age. And it was frustrating. And it was also a very cool feeling. But I will never forget just locking eyes with him. And it wasn't romantic. It was just oh, it's you. Cool. Oh my gosh. And I had happy, fuzzy, warm feelings. And I know he did too. But we ended up after about 20 minutes just partying.
And you felt like you should, from that point, be able to reminisce. But there were
come here, let me hug you.
Right, but there was no memories to,
nothing. And that will stump me till the day I die. And I'll never forget his face or his eyes, but there was a knowing.
So I think that's past life.
I would have to agree, Lynn.
I think that is a past life knowing.
Like you recognize that soul.
Yeah. It's like soul recognition. Like you don't know it. Well, you know it, but you also feel it. Like deep, like in your body. Like, I know this person.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you just can't figure it out because you don't know them in this lifetime. So, should have chased him down.
Probably should have. But, I'll catch him on the flip side in the next life. I'm not worried.
Yeah, that's actually true, I think. I think
say, catch me in 20 years when we can go have a QHHT session together and figure out how we know one another.
Talk about our arthritis and shit like that. Yeah.
That's funny. We were just having a conversation around the kitchen table, and I was like, we used to have so much fun together. Now it feels like we talk about all the things that are going wrong with our bodies. It's like, are we that old now? I don't approve of this situation, ladies. We need to have more fun together.
I'm saying little adventures, but it's easy to say that when there's snow and ice outside and we're all aching just to get out and move or do something or get our vitamin D back. But that's another topic. Anyway.
Yeah. I think I've had several of those occasions happen. I know whenever, I was probably 30 or right before maybe my late 20s. And I was at a party and this person walked in the door. And the minute our eyes locked, I've never experienced anything like this before. But it was like we just magnetized to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up talking the rest of the night. And then we ended up dating for a little while, but it was not a great relationship at all.
Right.
But it was like we knew each other and like we had always known each other. And I had a little glimpse of a past life, seeing how we were connected. And in that lifetime, he left me. And then in this lifetime, the same thing happened. And I knew when he did, I just needed to cut the ties completely. But my emotional response to the breakup, the leaving, he moved away, was so out of context for the length of the relationship and what it actually was. I was absolutely devastated.
Yeah.
Why? Not logical.
Mm-hmm.
Not even real love. It was a loss of many times, I think, and not just that one occasion.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that person had the same feeling about me. But I knew on some level, we were supposed to have some sort of karma together.
Share some kind of energy, even if it's brief.
Yeah. And I don't think everybody has recognition.
That's true.
Some people have their head up their...
The booty holes.
Yeah, that was a nice way of putting it. And
was it though?
It was nicer than what I was getting ready to say. So I think some people they don't have the recognition, but for those of us who are kind of tapped in, and we just kind of feel it different.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I think everyone's had the experience in this room and out of this room where sometimes whether it's meeting a new coworker or having an interaction with the cashier at the grocery store, and you don't know this person, but you do not want to be in their energy for any longer than you have to be.
100%.
I mean, yeah. And some people give off a warm glow and you're like, oh, I wish we were friends, or I wish we hung out. So I think it goes both ways, where the soul knows what your brain cannot compute.
Or you're standing in line and you strike up a conversation with the person behind you, and it's 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
But you feel like you know that person after such a brief conversation. So it's it's more recognition than it is the content of the interaction. It's not the content of the interaction, it's the energy of the interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You recognize, or you either positively or not so positively, but you recognize.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when that happens, because y'all know I like to talk, but a lot of times when I go to the grocery store, I try to just keep to myself. But sometimes someone standing in front of me will turn around and start talking to me, and they will say something that I needed to hear that they have no idea that I needed to hear.
Right.
And I think that is such a divine timing thing that we kind of worked in our little life story.
Little messenger from beyond.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they have no clue that that's what they're doing.
Right. Yeah. I think we give ourselves that when we're writing our stories.
Yeah.
Just a guess.
I had a woman one time, I was at work, and I think it was her and her husband came in, and she looked at me and I looked at her and I was like, she looks really familiar. And she was like, do I know you from somewhere? And so I, like you talked about, started recounting, this is where I worked before. This is where I grew up. I've lived blah, blah, blah. And she was like, no. And she felt very familiar to me too. And we never figured it out.
Yeah.
And she came in the office a couple times, but there was a warmth about our interactions always, even though we didn't know each other in this lifetime anyway. But there was that feeling of having known her before. And it's so fun whenever you get those little pokes.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love it when it happens.
And there have been plenty of times in my own life where You meet someone and you start chatting and you know each other and you figure it out. Oh, you're Bobby's cousin. You were at the wedding in September back on blah, blah, blah. And we talked and we had champagne together and, oh, so good to see you again.
Mm-hmm.
I've had plenty of those experiences because really the circles we walk and run in this lifetime are so much tighter than I think we realize. But yeah, it's very confounding to me from a memory standpoint because I know that I am personally guilty of psychologically rewriting some things so they're easier to live with, whether it was a painful event from school in my childhood. Oh, well, that didn't really hurt that bad, and I just took it wrong. When if I really sat down with it and went through it, oh, well, that stung like hell. But I'm packing this suitcase so I can move on effectively in life. And I know you guys know what that's like.
Mm-hmm.
Survival skills.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I think my first memory was when I was 6 years old. And then I think, and I can remember it so vividly, it was in a hotel in Chicago, Illinois, because we never went to hotels.
Uh-huh.
And it was wintertime and they had an indoor pool and hot tub. And I would run with my little orange life vest on that had my name and my age on it. That's why I remember my age, because it said age 6 on the back. And I would run from the pool into the hot tub to get warm back up. And maybe pee. I don't know. I cannot confirm or deny that.
TMI.
I was 6. But I remember there was a couple sitting in the hot tub and they would laugh every time I'd get back in, like they thought I was funny. And I still remember them. But then anything else in my childhood, very, very small memories. Maybe like whenever I was 10, 11, 12, I have more memories of like horseback riding and bad days in school. I had a really shitty teacher in the 3rd grade. But there's so much that I don't remember.
Yeah, I feel like memories of like school and things are, for me, are more of flashes. I remember seeing myself sitting at a table with all of my friends from because you went to lunch during a certain period. So you always ate with the kids from a certain class, right? So I remember sitting at a table with the kids from that particular class. This happened to be an English class. And so I'll have like a flash of sitting at that table and like where I was at the table in relation to where everybody else was at the table, but of it being a memory. Like, what were we talking about? Was it a Tuesday or a Thursday? What did we have for lunch? Like, it's not a memory. It's just an image. And like, I have images of myself walking through the parking lot to get on a bus and like what I was wearing. But again, it's not, there's no context around it. It's just a flash image. And most of my childhood memories are like that, are flash images.
I think mine are too, now that you're talking about it. I don't remember the conversations.
I'm so glad you said that because you just made me realize something, because everything you just said just totally rings true for me. But I have so many flash memories where it's like I am the cameraman watching Camille walk or watching Camille eat breakfast or watching Camille play with the cat. And I'm not really in that body. I'm hovering above.
Well, now that
just tripped me out that you made me think of that.
But okay, I have never thought about it like that. But now that you say that, specifically the one that I'm talking about of me walking through the parking lot,
it's like
I'm sitting here where Chandra's sitting, but I'm looking at Lynn walking through the parking lot. Like I can see I have on a light blue shirt with some light blue jeans that have a pink stripe on them. Like I can see myself walk.
When you should be seeing what's in front of you through Chandra's eyes.
That would be
instead of the cameraman or being the cameraman.
Right.
Yes. Preach, girl.
That's interesting. That's going to require some research on my part to have to go see why that happens, because a lot of mine are like that.
Gives me tripping balls. I was getting ready to say that. It's got chills all over.
A lot of my memories are me seeing it from an outsider.
Yes.
Okay. So this
is why we settled on this topic.
Trigger alert. This podcast is getting ready to completely go off topic.
Which never happens.
But that whole like cameraman perspective put me in the mindset of people talking about common dreams that people of this age, our generation, talk about having common dreams that we talk about having all the time. And one of them is like not being able to fly, being able to float.
Oh.
Like you dream that you're going down the stairs, but you just kind of like hover over the stairs. And I have a recurring dream, and it's like I can put my feet out in front of me. Like if I were sitting on the floor flat with my legs stretched out in front of me, and I'll become like a hovercraft. And I can just float around and go wherever I want to go. And it's like I have to remind myself that I can do this, and even in the dream. And the other dream is being able to breathe underwater.
Oh, I have that one a lot.
Yeah. Of just like you, for whatever reason in the dream, you end up in a place where it's underwater and you just remember
that you can breathe.
And you take a breath and you're like, oh, I didn't know I could. Oh, this is super. But each one of them is the dream of remembering you have this thing that you can do. And the feeling that I got when you said the cameraman perspective is the same feeling that I got when I was listening to that podcast and they were talking about these common reoccurring dreams of, they called it like remembering a talent, of like remembering that you can do these things. And but they were, too many of them were the same one reoccurring across so many different people.
Yeah, life is weird.
Before you catch yourself and think, oh, I'm in a clunky body. I don't really do that. Yeah, you do.
Right. Well, I remember, and it was funny because Brenda said third grade, and I was like, oh, yeah, because when I was in the third grade, I remember having this whole thing go on in my head. And later in my years, probably 10 years ago, I saw it happen. Like it happened. But it was like I was seeing a memory in third grade me, but it was in the future. Life is weird.
Yeah, being in a meat suit is a weird experience.
I don't recommend it, but anyway.
I do. I recommend it.
So I want to know if anybody else in this room used to do this. Whenever I was a little girl, I used to lay on the sofa kind of with my head off the side, and I'd look up at the ceiling, and I'd pretend like I was walking around the ceiling, but I would actually, it was like I was walking on the ceiling, but the ceiling was the floor. And I would walk around and step over like the door frames and go into another room, but I'd be laying on the couch the whole time. Anybody else do that shit?
And we had the lights. We had those drop down lights. Do you know what I'm talking about? And yeah, you have to step over them.
And popcorn ceilings.
Yes, we had popcorn ceilings too.
And almost being able to feel the texture on your feet.
Oh, yeah.
The popcorn, Which
makes me wonder, were you like at that age, you don't think it's impossible?
Yeah.
So are you like doing like a little astral travel?
That's
like,
exactly
coming out of your body?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Is you're kind of almost like you're imagining it, but to the point of part of your energy is kind of like really doing it.
And no one's told you yet that it can't be done.
Right.
That humans don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're pliable.
Well, it's like when you're young and you have all the intuition and the people tell you that's not true. Intuition isn't real. And then you grow out of it. But when then you get older and your intuition comes back and you're like, that shit was real all along.
Yeah.
So it's like, when you're a kid, you hadn't been told yet.
Anybody else used to play light as a feather, stiff as a board?
No, but I want to.
Yes. It's amazing.
We used to pick people up as kids.
Oh, I've done it as an adult.
Well, now, trauma alert, trigger warning, trauma alert, trigger warning. I never played that as a child because I was always the child that weighed 200 pounds. And I was always afraid that it wouldn't work for me because I was the fat kid.
Gotcha.
So I never allowed myself to play it, but I so desperately want to.
As an adult, we always picked up the heaviest person in the room.
All right. I know what we're doing.
Heck yes.
We need one more person.
That's okay. We can find somebody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mike.
We can pick Mike up and freak him out.
Oh, he would freak out so bad.
Yeah, I don't see engineers participating in these activities.
Can't wait.
All he has to do is sit in a chair.
And tell us it's not possible because of his learnings.
Right.
And we'll prove him wrong.
That's right.
Oh.
All right, y'all. Well, this has been a super fun and interesting conversation.
Little cornucopia of topics.
I know, because we didn't know exactly what was going to come out.
But you know, this is how our conversations roll.
Yeah.
So if anybody ever wonders what we talk about when we're together, this is how it goes.
We are authentic people.
We just roll with whatever comes through.
And it's always
I like it.
Interesting.
For sure.
For sure. All right. Well, peace out, y'all. Take good care of yourselves. We love you and love each other.
Bye, everybody. Catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. Please follow and subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and leave a review. It's so easy to do and such a huge help for us. We appreciate your interactions so much. Want to join us at our table? Make sure to check out our YouTube channel and join our Facebook community. If you've enjoyed this content and wish to support us, take a look at our Patreon page. All information and links will be in our podcast description. Catch you next time.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, women's voices amplified.